Is there any ones you'd say don't ever put in a bouquet?
I would say lilies.
Yeah. Go on, why?
That's my favourite flower.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hello again, WEDPOD listeners. We're back with episode 2 of WEDPOD, chatting all things wedding planning to help you with the best day of your life.
Today we chat with Francesca Rose of Frenchie Loves Flowers about all things floristry and choosing the right flowers for your wedding.
Listen to the latest episode and be sure to subscribe to hear when the next one drops.
Enjoy!
Francesca.
Hello.
So you're the owner of Frenchie Loves Flowers. How are you doing? You alright?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Brilliant. Good. Nice. It's a nice day as well,
It
so
is
that's
nice.
good. So just give us a little bit of an intro about who you are and what you do for your business.
Yeah, so I'm a florist. I've been a florist since I was 16.
Wow.
And I set Frenchie Loves Flowers up in 2017. So I've
Yeah.
been predominantly a wedding florist since 2017, working on lovely weddings and doing flowers and styling and dressing chairs.
That's when you first came to our shows.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I actually launched my business at the Leeds I Do Wedding Fair. That was my first ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the date
lovely.
that I put down as my start business.
Oh, I love that.
Nice to know that.
Yeah.
Like little nice stuff. Oh no, it's great that. So you do predominantly real flowers.
I do, yeah. I'm predominantly a fresh florist.
Fresh florist,
Yeah.
but you also now are starting to diverse into fake flowers as
I
well.
have, yeah. So I've increased my inventory of all my artificial stock as well. So I've got quite a lot of centerpieces that are artificial, arches, some installations that you can hang, things like that.
Yeah.
Just to help with the cost of living crisis, really. And, you know, people are wanting to spend less money on, you know, wedding flowers than they did when I first started my business.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know, to get the looks effect that everybody sees on Instagram,
Yeah.
rather than spending thousands, you know, £2,000 to £3,000 on a big elaborate arch, they can hire it. And artificial flowers are really good these days. They look realistic. So
Yeah, compared to what it used to look like, and you could really tell.
Yeah, I think we said, didn't we, on the shows that
Yeah.
you could. The fake flowers are that good now
Can't
that
tell.
you can't tell
yeah,
sometimes.
you have to touch them to see
Yeah,
if they're real.
I think the thing is though, with the difference with fake and like your real flowers, there's just something extra about real flowers.
Yes,
There is,
definitely.
that smell and
It's
there's
that-
that.
yeah, the scent.
It is the
Yeah.
scent. Yeah, it encapsulates you into a moment.
Yeah.
So, and you know, our scent is a really, you know, strong. One of the strongest senses. So,
Yeah.
like years down the line, if you have like lavender in your bouquet, for example, like years down the line, if you smell lavender, it takes you right back to your wedding.
Yeah, because
day.
it's your memories,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Senses,
Yeah. Love that.
Oh,
So,
I like
and the
that.
movement as well, fresh flowers move differently to artificial flowers. So if you have like a fresh bouquet, you know, as you're walking like on your wedding videos, you can see the flowers moving a lot
Yeah.
more fluidly than artificial flowers. But artificial flowers definitely for bigger installations, arches, things like that, are a really cost effective way to
to
get
go
that look.
go for the fake flowers
Yeah.
and you can still capture it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, which do you find easier to work with then? Because obviously you've got, you know, when it's fresh, you've got like a lifetime, limited life.
Yeah. Both really. Fresh flowers are easier to manage and to cut. Like if you're making a bouquet out of artificial flowers, the wire and they're a lot harder to manage. Whereas fresh flowers are easier to work with that way. But bigger installations, I would say artificial flowers because they're a lot more hardy. So you've got to be a bit more delicate when you're using fresh flowers.
Yeah.
When you're making the bigger installations.
Yeah.
And obviously fresh flowers, you're working more closely to your deadline. So
Yeah.
like 3 days before the event really, you start working on your your fresh floral installations. But
Yeah.
you know, if you do artificial, you can do it well in advance. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you keep, if you're working 3 days before, do they keep quite fresh then if it's 3 days before? Because I suppose if you're cutting them.
yeah, so like for example, if you buy a rose, I buy a rose when it's fresh, so it's a lot more closed. So they say like by the time you get to your wedding, it's like 5 days old, so it's nice and open, and you can get that scent then.
Yeah.
So you normally buy your flowers like 3 to 5 days before your wedding. So then when I do get the flowers, then I have to, you know, condition them. So I get them, strip all the leaves, all the thorns off, and treat them with like preserving food and hydrate them, and then I have to look after them, take off the guard petals. So there is a lot of work involved before you get the flowers.
Totally.
I never realised there was that much involved. I kind of guessed you took the thorns and the leaves off, but I didn't know the rest of it.
Yeah, I've heard about the conditioning, and with certain, you know, like I've got some peonies in my house at the minute, and I know with some of them you have to like manipulate them slightly to force them to open.
You do, with some flowers, you do. And the trend at the moment is to have like reflex roses where you pull the petals back so they'll come up a lot more open. So we have to do that by hand. So if a bride wants that look in a bridal bouquet, we have a lot of roses to be able to, you know, manipulate the petals and make them look more open. So there is a lot of work involved with fresh flowers, definitely.
So does it look like a blown rose then?
Yeah, so the flowers are all folded back.
They do.
I should have brought one with me.
You should have done, you could have done a demonstration for us.
Yeah, you could have.
We'll have to send us a little video.
That'd
be great.
TikTok.
That'd be fab. That
It would. So fake and fresh flowers, obviously they've got the place. I'm going to guess that a bouquet is amazing to have fresh. Do you get more people wanting fake, or would you always recommend fresh?
I would always recommend fresh for your bridal bouquet, just because of the points that we've touched on. The movement of the bouquet in the video, you know, when you're walking, the leaves are moving differently, and the scent. But to be honest, the table, I'm a fresh florist, so I do prefer fresh flowers. I always will do. I've been a florist since I was 16. But for the brides that have got a tighter budget, but they're wanting the grandeur of the flowers, I would definitely say hiring artificial centerpieces. And I've got plenty of, you know, centerpieces that I hire out.
So we were talking about, so if we talk about, say, fresh flowers for a bouquet because they move nicer. And if you're, I mean, to have fresh throughout would be amazing because the scent is magnificent. But then if you're on a tighter budget, you can still create that effect, but you could use fake flowers as well.
And you know, you've got to think about what you do with your flowers afterwards as well. Like if you've got an unlimited budget and you have fresh flowers in your venue, that's great. What are you going to do with those flowers afterwards? Normally they get picked up by the florist and then they get disposed of. So there's that element to think about as well. If you do have fresh floral centerpieces, something that is good is to give them away as gifts. So you can work that into your budget as well. So rather than buy your bridesmaids gifts or your mother-in-law, your mother gifts, use the centerpieces as your gifts.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good way of, you know, utilising the budget with the fresh flowers. If you were dead set on having fresh flowers.
But no, like I say, you can't beat fresh.
No.
They're lovely, aren't they?
I'd always choose fresh.
So, talking on the fresh side, do you have seasonal flowers and flowers that people come to? I'm going to guess you get somebody come to you and go, I don't know, I'd love this flower. And you go, but you can't because it's
you're getting married at the wrong time of year.
I think the most popular flower that crops up is the peony. The peonies are just absolutely stunning. They look gorgeous, they smell gorgeous, and they're literally available for like 2 or 3 months out of the year. And it's probably one of the only flowers that you cannot get out of season. So a lot of growers grow flowers throughout the year. Even if it's not in season, you can still get it, maybe at a heightened price and not as good quality, but you can still get it. But peonies are a real big, like, you know, you can't get them out of season. It's unless you're artificial. So if you really wanted peonies but you were getting married in December, you could opt for having a fresh bouquet but including artificial peonies in that bouquet. So you're still getting the peonies but obviously not fresh.
Is there any ones you'd say don't ever put in a bouquet?
I would say lilies.
Go on mine. That's my favourite flower.
Is it? I'm not a personal fan, and I do a lot of funeral work as well. And
okay, that makes sense.
And I use a lot of lilies in funeral work.
I totally get it.
I mean, there's nothing to stop anybody having lilies in the bouquet. It's just because I'm not a fan, really, and also the stems in the stamens in the middle need to be taken out, and I have seen bridal bouquets like crop up on Instagram and Facebook sometimes, like, oh, they've not taken the stems out of the lilies, and they can stain. So
is that the pollen that comes?
Pollen in the middle of the lilies, So when the lily opens, before they start to go powdery, if you take out the stamens in the middle, they don't stain. So if you have lilies at home,
I need to start taking them out then, because it goes all over my house.
It does. Not stain your curtains and your wallpaper.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So
Yeah.
pretty, but just not
Practical.
No. But yeah, that's the only. I just personally don't like working with them, but I will do if a bride really wanted them, and I have done.
Yeah.
But I'm just not a fan.
That's fair enough. We get that.
Yeah, totally. So what would you recommend then, just like some examples for couples that are listening to this podcast? So if somebody's getting married like autumn, winter, what keeps well? And then same for like summer and spring, what sort of flowers are, seasonal for those sorts of weddings at those times?
Yeah, I think spring flowers, it's always nice to use flowers that are in season.
Yeah.
So you've got like peonies, hyacinths are really nice. Your tulips come out at that time as well. So it's always nice to add tulips in because they've got like a natural bend to them.
Yeah, they look quite elegant as well.
And they look
don't
really elegant, yeah. And you get the scent as well of
Yeah.
the spring flowers are always highly scented.
Yeah.
So spring's a nice month to get married.
Yeah.
And then like your winter flowers. I mean, like Christmas, I always like to use more wooded flowers, like your wax flower,
Yeah.
and like Christmas foliages, things like that. Putting pine cones in,
Yeah.
more hardy flowers for winter bouquets.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Do you get like flowers with berries and stuff in there as
Yeah,
well
yeah.
for
So
winter?
you can put like ilex berries in. You've got hypericum berries, viburnum berries. They always look nice in wintry bouquets.
They all sound really complicated but really pretty.
Yeah, yeah. And you think about your colours as well. So like your springtime weddings are more like pastel colours, and then your winter weddings are more like deeper, rich red.
And burgundies and that sort of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can think about your colour scheme.
Yeah.
Based around your flowers then.
Definitely, yeah.
Because didn't you have your sister have a winter wedding?
Yeah, so my
Christmas
sister
wedding.
had a Christmas wedding and the theme throughout was burgundy.
Yeah.
I can't remember, I think she had silk flowers because what she wanted wasn't available at that time of the year. So I can't remember what she had though because it's a few years ago, but yeah, so she was like burgundies and she had berries in her bouquets, like these white berries.
Pine cones.
She had pine cones as
Yeah.
well, and she had some little Christmas bells attached to hers as well because
Yeah.
obviously it's a Christmassy wedding, so yeah.
I think if you do have a winter wedding, you don't always have to stick to the darker colours as well. Like you can still use your pale pinks and your pale blues.
Yeah.
I mean, like for a Christmas wedding, you could bring more sparkle into it. So you can still have those pastels and make it look more wintry.
Yeah.
So do you do that as well then? Do you like add sparkle to fresh flowers?
Yeah, I can do, yeah.
I love
Whatever, if
sparkle.
you can think it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love sparkle.
So when you say sparkles to bouquets,
Yeah.
are we talking like you're going to have to excuse me on this, putting glitter and things on
you
them?
can put glitter in. I've done roses before where you put like a little bit of flower-friendly glue on the top of the rose and then just sprinkled a bit of glitter on it. So yeah, you can get
How early do you put that on then? Because obviously if it's a fresh flower, does it impact the petal, the glue?
Not if you're using specific glue that that's flower friendly,
Yeah.
that's got less toxins in. You can do it like the day before.
I didn't even know you could do
Neither
that.
did
It
I.
does last a lot. It does last a while as well.
Yeah. Because you'd think it like wilt the
Yeah.
petals.
It's flower friendly though.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So I guess on that then, if you are having a winter one, well, saying that, the British summer we've had up to now is pretty wet.
It's just all winter.
Yeah. Is there anything people need to think about when they're getting married outside with
Yes.
flowers?
Yeah, the weather.
The rain.
Just don't go outside.
Yeah, I would think probably try and stick. If you're wanting to get married outside, you need to be looking at your typical summer months.
Yeah.
I haven't done an outside wedding in winter before, but I have done a summer wedding, and just before they were due to set out, to walk down the aisle, the heavens opened and there was a massive downpour.
Oh.
So we had to, all the guests just kind of moved to one side, and we had to move everything inside so they could actually get married inside. So that's something to think about if you're having big massive installations and things like that and you're getting married outside, have a look at the weather. What is the weather going to be like?
Yeah.
But I think venues work closely with you on that anyway. They do, if you are at a venue that does have outdoor ceremonies, they look at the weather and things and then advise you. I don't think it's suitable to get married outside. You might have to take it inside.
Yeah, it's good to remember that though, because if somebody is watching and thinking of getting married outside, it's sometimes I think if you get absorbed into the whole ethos of the wedding, you'll forget about that.
Yeah.
So it's good to probably pre-think check the weather.
Yeah.
Because if it is, it's not just about where you're getting married, it's the decor outside. You need to obviously bring
it
it
could
in.
get ruined, But I mean, some of the nicest photographs happen in the rain, don't they?
They
so, you know, it's all about the moment. And I suppose if you're getting married, you know, by the time it comes around, you don't notice the weather.
You don't. I don't think you do. You make the most of it, don't you?
You
You don't get too uptight about it. Just go out to have a good day. Biggest party of your life.
Definitely.
Oh, I know, that's great, that.
The other thing I wanted to ask is, not personally yourself, but have you heard any, and non-social as well, any like horror stories or anything, or do you know anybody that might have ever had any sort of issues? Because couples love gossip.
They do, I did once get a phone call from a florist at 8 o'clock at night, and she was in a bit of a pickle because it was during the time of COVID where a lot of weddings were being postponed at that time. We didn't know what was happening. And one of her brides had postponed her wedding until like a couple of years later, or so she thought. So she'd given her a date, for example, the 24th of July. And she'd put it in her diary as like 2024 or something. And she got a phone call the night before from the bridesmaid saying like, oh, we're just seeing if we're all set for the wedding tomorrow. And this was the previous year. So she was like, no, I've got your wedding in. She didn't say this to the bride, but she was like, the wedding's like next year in my diary. So she phoned me and she's like, right, I've got this pickle, I've got a wedding tomorrow. I thought it was next year. What can you help me? What we're gonna do? We managed to pull all the flowers in. I helped her with childcare. We managed to pull off a wedding with 10 centerpieces.
Wow.
Styling the ceremony. All by the next morning. We didn't go to bed that night, and she needed a cake stand actually, and it needed making out of timber. So I actually pulled one of the shelves from our wall.
That's dedication.
I had a timber wall on my shelf,
Oh.
and I was just like, right, let's just chop this up. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, I was making a cake stand, chopping wood up. She still owes me for that shelf, by the way.
Have you got the shelf back?
I got the shelf back, but I can't really put it on my wall. So I have got a nice cake stand now, so let's look at that. It's got a little story to it.
Do you know what? I think everybody gets one of those where something happens, and I guess the thing is to learn from that is to just give a date, make sure you get a year.
Yeah, exactly, because it was such an easy mistake to make. Everybody was postponing the weddings for like the following year, and it was just an anomaly that the bride had said, it's the 24th of June. She assumed it was the following year because that's what everybody was doing.
Conversation,
but it wasn't. It was that same year, so it's just unfortunate, But the bride never knew. She didn't have any idea.
That's the main thing.
To this day, she doesn't know that she nearly didn't have any wedding.
What goes on behind the scenes there?
I mean, if it were me, I think I'd be double checking, but as a bride.
I think a good tip is, and it's like anything, when it gets closer, get a list together of everybody that you've got a service or a product from.
Don't just leave it until the day before, because you'll never know. If you don't, and we're all wedding suppliers are busy in the summer months throughout the whole year, and sometimes we might not reply to messages straight away because we're working on a wedding or something. So I think if you haven't heard from your supplier, and you've got like maybe a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks to go, just touch base with them and just say, is everything on track? And normally you'll find that your wedding supplier will get in touch with you around 4 weeks before anyway, just to touch base with you. But if you don't hear from them, maybe just drop them a line.
Give them a nudge.
Yeah, it's remembering that there is busy times. And catching people in. But that's great. That good bit of advice.
Very good advice.
Definitely. I think it's been really good and informative, and I think it gives some good tips. One is, remember, fresh flowers look great in bouquets, and fake flowers, it's a good option, but we all love fresh.
I have got one question to ask you. What's your favourite flower?
Peonies. Peonies, 100% peonies. I love them. This time of year is my absolute favourite. I think I love them because they're only available for the very...
like precious.
Are they the red ones?
You can get them in coral, you can get red ones, you can get white.
I've got white ones. They come in like a big ball when they're closed, and then there's so many petals and they're beautiful.
But the wedding I've got on Thursday, I've got peonies.
I like a gerbera.
Gerbera. Is that how you pronounce it?
Gerbera.
Is it? I got that right then. Usually I don't. I pronounce them all wrong. Yeah, I like those.
Yeah.
I just
all
like flowers, but yeah, peonies have got a special place in my heart.
They are lovely. They are lovely.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's been brilliant,
yeah.
and I could talk to you all day about seasonal flowers, especially anything that's yellow, because that's my favourite colour. But yeah, thank you for coming. It's been brilliant.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed episode 2 of WEDPOD.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you for episode 3.